English is often being taught as though learners are preparing mainly to communicate with people from countries such as the UK and the United States. But learners will use English with people who have different first languages from their own. So, for instance, a Korean engineer might use English with colleagues from Italy and Kenya. An international student might use English in a group where no one shares the same first language. When English is used as a shared means of communication in this way, we can describe it as English as a lingua franca or ELF. Lingua franca is a language used by people who do not share the same first language. English now performs this role in many areas, including business, education, travel, technology, and online communication. ELF is not actually like a variety of English with its own fixed grammar or pronunciation. What it is something that describes how English is being used in the real world. In an ELF interaction, speakers use English as a shared communicative resource. This means that the way that they may use it may change according to the situation, their purpose, and the people who are involved in the communication event. The main question is really whether they can understand one another and achieve what they are trying to do. So, successful ELF communication often depends on strategies, and these strategies could be things such as asking for clarification, checking understanding, explaining an idea to one another, repeating important information, and adjusting how we speak. An important point to remember here is that communication is something that people create together. Let's think then about English in multilingual communication, because this is really important to ELF. Now, ELF interactions are often multilingual, and this means that speakers may use English alongside other languages, with gestures, with images, or even translation tools. So English becomes part of a wider range of resources that people use to communicate. So, for example, learners completing a group task might use another language briefly to clarify an idea before reporting their decision in English. From an ELF perspective, this is not necessarily going to be seen as like a failure to use English in the right way, but it may be an effective way of completing a task. So what does this mean for teaching? So an ELF perspective helps us move away from thinking that there is only one legitimate way to use English, because there's not. It's used around the world and across cultures. As a teacher, you can expose learners to a wider variety of speakers, to a wide variety of accents, and also to some different communication situations. You can also give learners opportunities to practice managing misunderstandings and adapting their language, and help them to think that actually understanding isn't just about them as the speaker, but it's also about the listener as well. It's also useful to ask who learners are likely to communicate with when they're outside a class. Is that going to be a native speaker? Probably it's not. You can also think about questions like, are they learning English for international study? Is it for a multilingual workplace? Is it for travel? Or is it for online communication? And this can help you identify their needs, and then you can think about how you could address them with ELF. The answer, I guess, may influence the kinds of voices, the situations, and the communicative strategies included in the course that you design or teach. What's really exciting about ELF is that it gives us a change in perspective. So English as a lingua franca really encourages us to move away from the idea that successful English always means sounding like a native speaker, which is an impossible task to achieve for most learners. So that's why we need to forget about that. Instead, in terms of English as a lingua franca, successful English means communicating clearly and effectively with the people you actually need to communicate with. It places intelligibility, adaptability, and cooperation at the center of language use. So, English as a lingua franca is not a new form of English for teachers to teach. It's a way of understanding how English is already being used around the world and asking whether our classrooms really prepare learners for that kind of reality. I'll let you into a secret. Actually, a lot of them really just don't. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.